Yeah, bang bang roll, judges. Some of these judges, mate, that whoop up big sentences in my times in the 70s. Bad judges that everybody wanted to swerve them, and when they heard they might have them, they go sick for a couple of days or a week, fall down the stairs, something like that. You know, that's how these judges got to you, yeah, because people knew that these judges are going to whoop it up you. You had judges like Mervyn Stevens. Mervyn Stevens. Mervyn Stevens give the craze, the bird that he give them, yeah? He was a bad judge. He wanted to make a name for himself. I mean, you know, this guy, I don't know how they work it, you know what I mean? I don't know how they work it to get a judge like Mervyn Stevens who wants to make a name for himself, or has already had made a name for himself, but he's one of the worst judges on the circuit at that time, yeah? To sentence you. And you know that if you're going to get it guilty, even if you plead guilty, you're going to get it whooped up you, because he was such a bad man, yeah? Mervyn Stevens. Then you had the judge I had, a judge called Griffith Jones. Griffith Jones was one of the worst judges at the Bailey. He was the common sergeant, meaning the common sergeant means he's the top judge at the Old Bailey. Mervyn Stevens was at one time, but then Griffith Jones took over, and he was a bad judge. When I heard that I had him, I didn't know at that time who he was until I made myself busy when I was to ask people, proper gangsters, who Mervyn Stevens or Griffith Jones were at that time. And they were saying, you don't want Mervyn Stevens. Mervyn Stevens done the craze. You don't want him. You don't want Griffith Jones because bad judge again, right? Really bad judge. He is such a bad judge. You don't want him. And all of a sudden you go to yourself, what judge can I get? You know, and there's so many judges on the circuit. I'm going to read them out in a minute. Judges that people who listen to my podcast, maybe older than me or a bit younger than me, that can remember these judges, or maybe they were still in the circuit in them days, yeah? But you had Edmund Davis. Look at him, Edmund Davis. He done the train robbers. Look at the bird he gave them. Ridiculous, Tom. Ridiculous. You know, how do these judges come to that conclusion? There must be, you know, you can't rob, obviously, so you can't rob the Royal Mail. So you've got to get whooped up here. You're going to get whooped up here, mate, you know. It's the same, what they did there, you know, the train robbers. You're going to get whooped up here, mate. You can't not. You know, they picked that judge out, Edmund Davis. He was a top judge. Bad judge. A really bad judge. They got him and it slaughtered him, you know what I mean? And then Ian Brady and Marvin Hindley had a judge called Fenton Atkinson. Well, Fenton Atkinson was a fair judge at certain times, but also a bad judge. But he get the Marvin Hindley and Ian Brady. Really, when you think about it, he didn't give them much of a sentence. They should have been topped, mate. They should have come back out again and topped them two without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, when I met Ian Brady, well, met him, but when I heard him on the typewriter at night time in the scrubs, mate, and I come out myself and I wanted to rush up the stairs and do this geezer. I mean, you know, to think that he was looked after by the government, Ian Brady, you know, to look after him, to get all his memos, to find out where all the bodies were hidden. He never done nothing. All he did is done his own memos, done his own book. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. You know, but that judge, Fenton Atkinson, good judge. He was a good judge, but he was, you know, to them, he let him off light, I think. Let him off light. Who's the next one? Yeah, even that, look at Graham Young, Mervyn Stevens. He had Mervyn Stevens, Graham Young, the poisoner. He wasn't so bad. Mervyn Stevens wasn't so bad with him, you know, Graham Young. He didn't give him that big a sentence. He poisoned about 30 people, Graham Young. You know what I mean? Mervyn Stevens, I think Mervyn Stevens didn't like, really, gangsters as such. I mean, you know, Graham Young wasn't a gangster. He was just a poisoner. He was just someone that, he wasn't a gangster. He's just a nut. And what they say is that us people, gangsters, can't be controlled. and rapists, paedophiles, and them sort of people are sick people that are sick, that can be treated. This is how they work it, the judges, yeah? So, you know, think about it, mate. I mean, these judges, look at, one of the worst ones here, right, was the Right Honourable Judge Denham. He was a bad judge, mate. He was a bad judge. And he believed, yeah, that if you went in front of him, right, you were guilty. Even if you went in front of this judge being not guilty, he would tell the jury, as far as I'm concerned, any man that comes in my court, and says he's not guilty, believe me, he's guilty. He was a bad judge, Denham. Oh, what? I mean, the way he used to talk, well, you know, he was a bad, I remember that judge so well. Then you had Miskin. I mean, these ones that people that might have heard of these ones, even though there was bad judges, they wasn't as bad as Griffith Jones, Milford Stevenson, Edmund Davis, or Fenton Atkinson. It wasn't that bad, really. Or Denham. Denham was bad, was really bad. So you had Miskin. Miskin, most of these were at the Bailey, but they were on a, what is it called? It was a, what's the name? Circuit judges, weren't they? Big circuits they used to have around London, yeah? And out of London and all that, St Albans and all them, around them people. And then they started just to get judges at the Bailey, yeah? But Miskin, anybody heard of Miskin? What a bad judge, mate. I went in front, well, say that. I went in the run coming back in front of Miskin. My judge wasn't there on the circuit at that time. Miskin said, if you'd have come in front of me for this sentence, Mr. Hill, I'd have given you 12 years. And I've got 22 years and the other judge. So really, Miskin would have been better. And that was Griffith Jones that said that to me, that he'd give me 22 years, Griffith Jones. And Miskin said 12 years. These are the judges, the bad judges. Like Griffith Jones was a terrible judge. Then you had Mason, Judge Mason at the Bailey. Anybody heard of him, Judge Mason? He wasn't a bad judge, mate. Most of these Masons and Miskins weren't heavy ones like Milford Stevens, Griffith Jones, Atkinson, and Edmund Davis, all them sort of judges. And then Denham, I mean, Denham was different kettle of fish altogether. He was a bad judge. Then you had Argyle. I'm not quite sure if it was Argyle or Abdullah. Right? These were two number ones too at the Bailey. Bad judges. Not the same again. These are the judges, the ones that I'm just calling out now. Not the Stevens, Griffith Jones, them sort of ones, Atkinson and Fenton there, and the other one, Atkinson. But these ones I'm going to call out now was regulars at the Old Bailey, yeah? They used to dish out 10s, 12s, 15s, yeah? As the others, Griffith Jones and all the other guys, Griffith and Milford Stevens, they were bad judges who would give you, whoop it up, yeah? There are a few on here that I'll tell you about that are also bad judges, yeah? So you had Miskin. Argyle, it was either Argyle or Abdullah, that if you went in front of him and you was a boxer, and a good boxer, and you went in front of him for violence, he'd go absolutely crazy. He would whoop it up, yeah. But if you went in front of him for something like fraud, something like that, or something to do with more money but not violence, he'd look after you because it was either Argyle or Abdullah. People that know tell me, but one of them was a Repton. He sort of like sitting on the board at Repton, so he was one of the top judges, but he was sitting on there. So he went in front of him for anything like money charges, anything like that, or fraud. You'd have a good chance of getting off of it because he loved boxing. But he went in for violence, and he was a boxer. He was in trouble, big trouble. We didn't like that, mate. Who was the other one? We've had Mervyn Stevens, Griffith Jones. I had a QC, yeah, doing my case with Griffith Jones, and his name was Lord Widgery. Lord Widgery was a top judge at the Bailey, and he was my QC. Lord Wishery told me to plead guilty in front of Milford Stevens. Look at me, wrote this down. Sorry, I got it all mixed up. In front of Griffith Jones, right? So plead guilty in front of Griffith Jones, right? And it'd be okay because Griffith Jones had been at a party that night with him, and they'd had a bit of a drink. They both, want to get home as soon as possible. He said, plead guilty, and he'd be nice and lenient with you. Was he? What, 22 years he gave me, Griffith Jones. Anyway, I did fight it. So anyway, give me 22 years. So he was a bad one, Lord Wishery. What's in that? Welling. Judge Welling. I didn't really know too much about him. He was a circuit judge. He was on a circuit, Judge Welling. I heard that he whipped it up a few people, Judge Welling. He liked to give 10s and 12s. A lot of these judges had certain sentences they'd give you, like 10s, 12, 15s. It wouldn't go no lower, and it wouldn't go no higher than 15. But they were judges that you knew you was going to get a 10 or 12, 15. They'll pitch out for you, right? Greenwood. Justice Greenwood. I believe Greenwood was up in a stick somewhere, but he wasn't a good judge, mate, Greenwood. He was quite a bad judge. I mean, everybody that was anybody that shouted out the window, because you don't usually get people that are in for silly charges, money charges and them sort of things, that shout out the window. It's usually people that are in for bad charges, like grievous bodily harm, affray, attempted murder charges, armed robbery charges, threats to kill, them sort of charges. People are shouting out the window to find out if anybody knows this judge, that judge, yeah. But to go in front of this Welling, or Greenwood wasn't got another one that I've heard quite a lot about is a judge called Judge French. Evidently, I don't know what area Judge French come from. Chelmsford, that way, I'm not quite sure, around them areas. Judge French was a bad judge. I don't know if he was at Kingston, something like that, or Welling was at Kingston. Kingston was a bad court, some bad court judges at Kingston too. But when they had the circuit judges all going around the circuits, you didn't know where he was. You didn't know where he was. You just hoped that certain judges at that time weren't on a circuit, that sort of circuit. So people that on my comments, right, would know, the ones that have been in bad troubles would know good judges, bad judges. There aren't many good judges, mate. But as I say, Abdullah and Argyle, there's a fight between them two. Which one was at Wepton? He was one of the top knobs at Wepton Boxing Club, yeah? So if you went in front of him for anything like to do with fraud or anything like that, you had a good chance if he was a boxer, you'd get a suspended sentence or something like that. But if you went in for violence, what? He was in trouble. But as I said, the train robbers, Edmund Davis, picked one of the worst judges they could definitely pick out for the train robbers. Griffith Jones, another bad judge. Bailey, Common Sergeant, I went in front of. He'd whoop it up you. You'd know you was in trouble if you got Griffith Jones. Mervyn Stevens. Mervyn Stevens was, I should think, the worst judge ever. Between him and Denham was the two worst judges ever at the Bailey. I think Denham was a red robe judge with a hat, yeah? He wore a black hat, so he's a red robe judge with a black hat. He'd be one of the ones that do you for hanging. That was Denham. He was a bad judge, mate. He was a bad judge. I've heard some really bad stories about him. There are a couple of people, I should think, that do my comments, that always on my comments. Nice people as well. The one was called the Governor. I like him. He's proper, mate. He tells me, quite a lot about the judges, yeah, and all that, and he would tell me about this. I mean, to get judges that can dish out silly sentences to people like Brady and Hindley, you know, like this Fence and Atkinson. I mean, really, but they're top judges, mate. Really, they should have brought back topping for them two. I believe, you know what I mean. Them two got it quite easy. They didn't have it hard. They had it quite easy, mate. And anybody that molests kids and things like that, kill women and all that, you know, paedophiles and all that, paedophilia and all that, shouldn't get light sentences. They should get big sentences. More so, like them two, Hindley and Brady, that killed kids and put them on the moors, and they still ain't found them today. Them two should never ever have been allowed to walk about. I heard, you know, this is only what you hear. I heard that Brady was in Durham prison with all that lot, with, you know, everyone that you know, gangsters, proper gangsters. In that time, halfway through the 60s, 70s, Brady was in there with them, on the same wing as them. You know, even though I was told that he was banged up on that wing, there was a paedophile that had done a lot of bird, who'd been let out with that lot, they had him gophering around, running around doing teas and all that, but he's still a paedophile in Lawrence case. He still run around for a lot of them in that Durham prison, yeah. Where when they was all there, yeah. But I heard that Brady was also there, and he come out at certain times, but they didn't give him no grief, mate. You know. Anyway, it's what he was told. Whether or not it's true is another thing. But I did read something about Brady being around in Durham prison with that little firm. Anyway. Bang Rail, just give me your comments on judges. You're all ones, a lot of the ones on my podcast, on my videos. I don't do a lot of podcasts, most of videos, yeah, that can tell me what judge they had and what judge they believe was told. There was, I mean, there wasn't many out there at my age, in my age group in the 60s and 70s, that were shouting out the window at these judges. Because these judges, there's only about 3 or 4, Milford Stevens, Griffith Jones, Denham, and this one here, Edmund Davis, right? Bad judges. If you went in front of them, you was good night nurse, mate. And I told you the other judges, a lot of them get set sentences for set what you do. Armed robberies, they're going to give you 15 years, 10 years, 12 years. And then there's got others that are going to whoop it up, yeah, like Milford Stevens and Griffith Jones. You know. Anyway, bang rail. Please press the like button and give me comments. Thank you. Nice one.